right now. All right, welcome everyone. You're back with the Squeaky Floorboard Society. I'm Sage,
I'm Megan.
and you're back. Life's been chaotic over here. How about for you?
It's been wild. Been pretty wild.
We are re-recording two episodes that we recorded 2 weeks ago at this point, I
Yeah.
think. Um, I think that it was the audio gods being like, time is needed.
Yeah.
So they delivered.
Yeah. Not for Sage. Sage is always super on top of all the podcast stuff, but my dumbass is not.
I the only reason I get caught up is because I tend to not want to do my homework, so instead I'll do stuff for the podcast. So I'm still being productive, but I'm not doing
Right.
homework.
Sometimes I do that with laundry. Like I really don't want to do the laundry, but I'd rather do it than homework.
hmm So I find it's easier to do an entire episode in 2 hours than it is to do homework that would theoretically take me 30 minutes if I actually applied myself.
I get it.
Um, for me, it's just been schoolwork.
We're in the final stretch of this semester.
hmm And then I have a month off, and then I start my summer semester. And then I'll have another
You're-
month off. And I'll start my fall, and then I'll have 3 weeks off, and then I'll start my final semester.
I'm so glad we're both going to be spring graduates.
I know. I'm
Just
s-
a year apart.
I'm so ready for it to be over.
Me too.
I
Me too.
I told Dennis that I want to take that after, if like, let's say I do graduate because it's a capstone course. So let's
Mhm.
say that I do complete that and I graduate. I'm taking the summer and the fall off. I'm not going for my batch. I'm just gonna take some time to be me.
I totally don't blame you.
It's been a lot. I'm sure it's
It,
been a
it
lot for
it's
you too.
it's yeah. It's been bad. I'm taking a tax course this semester, and when I tell you this class is so fucking hard, it's advanced corporate income taxation
I know what all of those words mean separately.
separately. Yeah, that. So there's that. I have new duties at work outside of my standard department that also, because I'm in my last 2 weeks of that class right now, I think I can get all of this week and next work done tomorrow, though.
That's what
So I'm
I'm
gonna do
doing.
that. I'm gonna do that so that I can be done. Because the other class is an auditing class and it's so easy and the coursework is incredibly easy. She gives you like 2 assignments a week. So I love that class. My tax course is one that has the daily assignments as well. Um, so on top of all that school stuff and my finals for both classes coming up this past week and this coming week, and perhaps the week after, I don't know yet. I'm working in pricing integrity at a grocery store. One of the Krogers in our area, right? And we are also going through a remodel.
So you're just having the time of your life.
And I also still have to work in e-commerce. I still have to do pickup on top of pricing.
That sounds like such a blast.
I typically only work about because of school and my child, I typically only work about 20 hours a week. I'm working full time right now.
Do you like it?
No. I would like it if I didn't also have school though.
Yeah, that is.
Like I actually love the schedule in terms of like the hours I work. I'm doing 6 to 2
Ooh, that's a nice time.
as opposed to like 4 or 5 a.m. Except for my pickup shifts, I still have to be there at like 5.
Oh,
But it's fine. It's just been a lot.
I feel like I feel like I would enjoy more things if it wasn't like I feel like I would enjoy school more if I wasn't also a full-time employee, and I feel like I would enjoy
Mhm.
being a full-time employee if I wasn't a full-time student as well.
Right. I was telling my boss, I was like, there's like a triangle, okay, and you put work. Actually, let's put child at the top because that's most important, right? That's a
Yeah.
non-negotiable. So we have child, full-time work, full-time school. And you can't, only two of those points can exist at once or you die.
Feel that.
So if I have so child's non-negotiable
Yeah.
and full-time school is non-negotiable because I want to finish, full-time work must become part-time work. Except for these couple of weeks. And then after I graduate, I'm training in another department.
That's gonna be fun.
I anticipate being there for a while given this current job market.
Yeah.
So, and also I'm competing. I live in Indiana. This is not a secret, I fear, on this podcast. I'm going to be competing with Kelly School of Business graduates
Yeah.
who graduated with 4.0s. I have a 3.1, and I'm an IU business graduate, but not Kelly School of Business. So,
If you were a Cali School of Business, I don't think we'd be having this podcast.
no,
You would not
no,
have the time.
no. So, yeah. It's been a hard year.
But you know what? We're making it through, guys. We've got a couple more weeks of all of this, and then you graduate,
Mhm.
and then I have a month off.
But that month off is always so refreshing.
It is. I have a lot
It
of plans for that month.
it can be hard to go back sometimes, but
I think because since we finally are like in a good, stable like environment where I don't have to worry
mhm.
about like paying and stuff like that at the moment, I like
Mhm.
really loaded up my schedule.
Right.
Like loaded that up. And so now I'm just trying to like get through everything cuz I don't know if that's going to last, and so I don't think that this is going to go into my fall and spring semester. I think I'm going to have to pay.
You shouldn't have to anyways because you're native.
I have to, unfortunately.
What? I thought natives automatically got free school regardless of income.
It depends on the schooling. Like if I was in South Dakota, I would get free, but
Mm, that's
I could get
crazy.
but I could get scholarships to IU, but I'm not going to IU.
You know what though? IU Southeast is wonderful. I know it
Well.
makes more sense for you to go to the college that you work at though.
Yeah. Um so I just can't wait to have some time off.
I don't blame you.
I've really
I'm
burned myself out.
so far from my camera.
All right. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. Um, oh, I guess I can add this really, really quick. You already know this information, but our viewers won't know this. My wedding dress arrived in the mail.
I don't even think you said anything about ordering one.
Oh, no, because I did it on a whim when I got paid. I was gonna go to like bridal shops and look, but I didn't like anything I saw online at any bridal shops within like a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I'm not making a 6-hour drive for a wedding dress, so I got on Etsy and I ordered a wedding dress from the 70s.
It's pretty.
It
The
is pretty. It's not the most flattering cut on me, but I don't care.
I loved it.
I told you what my mom said. My mom thought I looked pregnant.
You didn't I don't think you told me that.
Oh, my
I
mom
don't
said she said looks like a shotgun wedding. But
I
so I
love
did
your
this.
mom.
I did decide to lose a little bit of weight before my wedding though, because I don't want to talk about what the scale has hit recently.
I
Because if I talk about it, people are gonna go, "Oh, must be nice." It's not that nice when you're my height.
I feel that because we've talked about this on here before, and I'm pretty sure I've kept
Hmm.
it in. I am plus size, and I
Right.
am not much taller than Megan.
I mean, you're decently taller than me. How tall are you?
5'3".
Yeah, Sage, you're like 5 inches taller than me.
But like in my like, I feel like there's at least I'm not like a whole foot taller.
No, you're not like a foot
But
taller than me.
like I've been doing like a workout thing. I'm on day 20. I have started running.
Ooh.
So,
I go on walks a lot.
um but I'm also getting into cuz I'm on day 20 of like this workout thing that I'm doing on top of like wanting to get into running. Like so we'll see.
I'm dieting, so
I
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm promoting diet culture. I'm sorry, but I'm almost. It's not even dieting in terms of like super strict calorie counting. I'm just cutting back to like normal portion sizes instead of sitting down and eating an entire bag of chips.
That's what I've been doing too. I've been on like a calorie deficit, but I'm still eating some of my preferred foods while
Hmm.
not like completely cutting out everything that was enjoyable.
Right, like I've cut out certain things that are super unhealthy from my diet. Like I don't need to eat a honey bun every day at work.
As I ate a honey bun earlier, and I keep telling myself I need to stop.
But at this point too, it's not just about I want to look good for my wedding. Like I am almost there. I'm gonna be 30 this summer. We do have health issues in my family. It would be wise at this point for me to start being considerate of my health. What do you got for us this week, Sage?
We are going to travel to Connecticut, right? I'm fairly certain. Yeah, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
All right, so let's get into this. Deep in the woods of northwestern Connecticut, tucked away from the main roads and long forgotten by time, lies the ghost town of Dudleytown, a place so steeped in mystery and misfortune that locals still whisper about it in hushed tones. They say the forest itself swallows sound, that compasses spin in circles. Visitors feel watched, and those who stay too long don't always come back the same. Once a small colonial settlement, Dudleytown's story is one of the strange deaths, disappearances, and eerie curses said to follow the Dudley family across generations. Whether it's superstition, coincidence, or something truly supernatural, that's up for you to decide. Today we're stepping into the dark heart of Connecticut's most haunted place. So I do want to point out that like I said, we did record these. I do not remember a single thing from the case that you talked about, and I don't know how much you remember from mine.
I remember a lot of yours, but only because I'm familiar with the story to
Right.
begin with.
All right.
I don't remember anything from mine.
The pop socket popped off. Dudleytown was never an actual town. The name was given at an unknown date to a portion of the Cornwall that included several members of the Dudley family. The area became known as Dudleytown, was settled in the 1740s by Thomas Griffiths, followed by Gideon Dudley, and in 1753, other members of the Dudley family settled there. Dudleytown was converted from forest to farmland. Families tilled the land for generations. Since it's located on top of a high hill, it was not ideally suited for farming. When more fertile and spacious land opened up in the Midwest in the mid 19th century, Cornwall's population declined. The village was located a few miles south of the Cornwall Bridge. It is located in a valley known as the Dark Entry Forest. Due to the shadows caused by the mountains surrounding the village and an access road, the town's abandonment has meant that barely any ruins of the original township survived. During the early 20th century, old farms in Cornwall were sold to New Yorkers seeking a better life in the countryside, including Dudleytown, which was privately owned since 1924 by Dark Entry Forest Incorporated, which feels like a superhero or like a supervillain's like corporation.
No, it does.
Because to me, it kind of gives like Doofenshmirtz.
Doofenshmirtz Incorporated.
It's the vibe that it gives me. So
Right.
I don't know why, it just does. Um, the land surrounding the village site today is closed to the public. So let's get into the curse and the hauntings. A local rumor that has been frequently shared on the internet alleges that the founders of the town were descended from Edmund Dudley, an English nobleman who was beheaded for treason during the reign of Henry VII. From that moment on, the Dudley family was placed under a curse which followed them across the Atlantic to America. The curse is blamed for instances of crop failures and mental illnesses, as well as several violent deaths in the village. Local historians have found no genealogical link between the Dudley family of Cornwall and the English nobleman and noted many other factual inconsistencies in the rumors. Records have shown that land was originally accompanied by the Mohawk Nation as sacred ground. The village's decline has instead been attributed to the distance from clean drinking water and unsuitable soil for cultivation. The curse came quickly to those that relocated to the town. One of the first victims was with oh my god. One of the first victims was Nathaniel Carter, who lived there between 1759 and 1764. Upon taking leave on a business trip, his wife and infant child were brutally murdered by the indigenous people there. Shortly after, he decided to call it quits and moved back to his home in New York with the remaining family. He was murdered shortly after. Abel Dudley formerly owned the property he purchased in Dudleytown. Abel himself would suffer from dementia and insanity at his old age. He died in the town at the age of 90. Then there is Abel's good friend Gershon Hollister, who fell to his death while building a barn for resident William Tanner in 1792. Tanner soon after went insane and claimed that a strange animal from the forest killed Hollister. Talks of demon and ghosts were common among other residents, including Tanner. Sarah Fay One was struck by lightning in front of her home in 1804. Her husband, Revolutionary War hero General Herman Swift, went mad after hearing the news. One of the most well known incidences is that Mary Cheney, a wife of presidential nominee Horace Greeley, she committed suicide a week before the election of 1872. Greeley went on to lose this bid to to Ulysses S. Grant. The curse is to blame for both losses. Again, I don't.
I'm I don't think the curse was to blame for him losing the presidency to Ulysses S. Grant, General of the Union.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's just
However,
to be expected.
however, he would like to believe that it was the curse.
Yeah, no, if he's compensating, it's okay.
Yeah. So, as the town entered the 20th century, the curse did not relent. One of the most unusual cases is that of John Patrick Brophy, a final resident of the town. The population was nearly depleted at this point due to the poor social and economic conditions. His wife died of consumption, also known as tuberculosis, before his two children wandered off into the woods to never return. He too would take off into the woods to never be seen again. Their house later burned to the ground in a mysterious fire. The Bro family, the very last inhabitants of Dudleytown, faced a series of misfortunes, including livestock losses, illness, and accusations of theft. Which, like, if you're the last inhabitants of the town, how is there theft? How are you being a thief?
Stealing from each other.
Maybe, maybe
Maybe. That's all I can think of.
there's just some inconsistencies across a couple of
Yeah.
these, but we'll get
Yeah.
more into that.
Mm-hmm.
The sons vanished under mysterious circumstances, leaving John Bro in mourning. In 1906, Dr. William Cogwell Clark and his wife Harriet stumbled upon Dudleytown during a countryside drive. Captivated by its natural beauty, they envisioned building their second home amidst the serene wilderness. Despite initial enthusiasm, their dream turned into a nightmare when Harriet's mental state deteriorated, haunted by visions of sinister creatures lurking in the forest. So, something I want to point out, and maybe it's just because I've been doing a lot of psych research this past week, this seems more of like things that have to do with the isolation and not as
Right.
much supernatural. Because as we've described, this area is very secluded, it's very isolated, cut off from other people. And if you live there for a
Mm-hmm.
while, it can cause your mind to start doing things.
Well, and on top of that, they literally call it dark entry forest because there's no sunlight, and a lack of sunlight does crazy shit to you too.
Yeah. So,
Which I'm sure you also have thought about.
yeah. So, I don't think it's a curse or ghost necessarily.
Mm,
I think it's a lot more to do with physical things happening in the world around you and also the fact of isolation. But let's keep going.
right.
So, over the year, Dudleytown's legend has only grown. Paranormal investigators like Ed and Lorraine Warren label the area as infested with demons, leaving behind more questions than answers. Now, we're going to shift from Dudleytown to Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, if you don't know who they are, how? How are you listening to our podcast and don't really know who they are?
Right.
To some, they are heroes of the paranormal world. To others, they were master storytellers who blurred the line between faith, folklore, and fear. Ed Warren was a self taught demonologist, one of the very first to actually call himself that. Lorraine claimed to be a clairvoyant, clairvoyant, trance, and medium. Together, they spent decades investigating supposed hauntings, possessions, and cursed places. If you are like, wow, they sound familiar, that is because their cases inspired the Conjuring movies Annabelle, Amityville, and the Enfield Poltergeist. So, just if you guys didn't know who they were, that's kind of a little bit about them. And all of the stories do trace back to real files that they had. Um, but beyond Hollywood, the Warrens were deeply involved in the New England paranormal scene. They funded the New England Society for Psychic Research in 1952, which is the oldest ghost hunting group in the country. They claim to have investigated over 10,000 hauntings. So,
Hauntings.
yeah, hauntings. So, we have our views, but we're going to keep going a little bit more into who they are. And maybe we'll stop for a second and talk about some of our point of views.
Yeah.
Their approach blended Catholic faith with old school spiritualism like holy water, relics,
Sorry,
prayer.
what? What kind of faith?
What did I say? Catholic.
Yeah.
Okay. I spelled it wrong and spelled it halfway like alcoholic.
Same thing.
Yeah, so that's more
I can
on
make that joke.
your son wrote my script.
Yeah. That's on him.
So their approach blended Catholic faith with old school spiritualism like holy water, relics, prayers, and belief that evil could literally attach itself to objects or people. Of course, not everyone believed them. Skeptics accused them of exaggerating or even outright fabrication. Whether you think they were true believers or brilliant performers, there's no denying they shaped the way we talk about ghosts. And it just so happens this town is one of the places they warn people to stay away from. So we're going to pause now and kind of talk about a little bit of our beliefs before we talk about what they did in Dudleytown. Would you like for me to go first, or would you like to go first?
Yes, ladies first.
All right, so we're both ladies.
Yeah, I know.
I think that very, very slim of their cases were to the point of how they exaggerate it. I think there is some belief in a lot of their cases, but I do believe that they over exaggerate a lot of it.
Yeah.
I do believe that there may have been some activity and stuff like that in a lot of the places that they explored, but I don't think it's to the degree that they wanted us to believe.
Right. Like, you and I are both clearly believers in the supernatural and paranormal.
Yeah.
So our basis for not necessarily believing Ed and Lorraine is not that we're skeptics. Far from it. You're looking at somebody who believes in the dog man.
And I'm Native American. I believe in everything.
Right. So yeah, no, I just think that they started out well intentioned. It didn't end that way.
Yeah.
And also, they had like a teenager living in their basement that was sleeping with Ed at one point.
I see. I did not know about that.
Yeah.
I
So, like, I don't know. I mean, you can also be a bad person and also actually talk to ghosts. Like, those things, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You could still be a bad person and still have that communication. You could be a good person and not have that communication. Like being a
Right.
good or bad person doesn't dictate whether or not you
Like,
have
I
these
don't,
abilities.
no matter whether they were lying or not, I don't like them as people.
Yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. I think they outright exaggerated a lot of stuff. And also, I think that, and you can't entirely blame them for this, but they were working within the constraints of their time and their knowledge
Yeah.
on some cases. Like the South End werewolf was just a guy with clinical lycanthropy.
Yeah.
Like, he was. Um, so did he exhibit superhuman strength at times? Yes. Yes, people do sometimes in psychotic states exhibit hysterical strength.
Yep.
So, you know, that's explained away. But he saw a psychologist who declined to diagnose him with clinical lycanthropy.
Which is weird
That is very weird.
and
If a
fishy.
guy came to, I'm not even a psychologist. I'm an accountant. And that's what my education is. And if a guy came to me and was like, I every so often think I turn into a wolf and I attack people when I turn into a wolf. And I get really strong. I would go, "Sir, it sounds like a psychotic break or clinical lycanthropy. You should spend some time with that Thorazine in there, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know how they treat that,
Yeah.
honestly. Maybe do some therapy, I don't know.
I think there's
Um,
probably like antipsychotics that they do prescribe.
yeah.
I would assume.
Uh, But Ed and Lorraine thought he was possessed, so,
I
you know.
again, like I do believe that there is a lot of exaggeration and on some cases definitely fabrication, but a lot of it I think that there might be some truth
Like the
to.
Conjuring house, I do believe something was in
Yeah.
that house. 100%.
Yeah. There's like even with this place, I don't believe that it's infested with demons.
No.
I think that especially if the Mohawk Nation was there, I believe that there's probably a really good reason why this was sacred ground, and it's
Mhm.
kind of on y'all for moving there.
Right.
Like so. But that's our thoughts on Ed and Lorraine. Maybe tell us what your thoughts are, if you know who they are. So, as we know, they were no strangers to cursed places. They spent their lives chasing. Is there a spider?
No, I have a TV in here now and I'm changing the screen because it's hurting my eyes.
Okay, you were just looking up, and I was like, please tell me that there's no spider. Like, I'm gonna be scared for you.
No, this TV is hurting my eyes.
Okay. They spent their lives chasing shadows, exorcising spirits, and collecting haunted relics. But even they warned people to stay away from Dudleytown. In the late 1970s, the Wardens investigated the area after a string of reports about strange lights, disembodied voices, and an oppressive darkness that seemed to hang over the ruins. They claimed the entire village was a kind of psychic vacuum or a place where light itself struggled to exist. Hi, I think that's just simply called a forest.
I think that's just called the trees are thick there, y'all.
Yeah. Um, So Lorraine once described Dudleytown as a place that invites darkness. It's a
You mean
forest.
the woods? Homegirl's never been in the woods before.
Apparently not. She said she could feel it immediately upon entering the woods, a presence that wasn't tied to one spirit or one death, but to something far older, something ancient and hungry. Hi, also called the Appalachians, which I'm pretty sure Dudleytown is near.
Yeah. Hi, bitch. That's just remnants of Pangea.
Yeah, so
What's that little Dicky song? This bitch don't know about Pangea.
and I think I know
Pillow
what you're talking about.
talking.
Yeah.
Pillow talking.
So I like that this has just turned to us disproving the Warrens.
We could
Uh,
do a whole season on that, quite frankly.
We really could. Um, so according to their accounts, the Warrens refused to perform any cleansing here. They said Dudleytown wasn't just haunted, it was infested. The legend as we know it traces back to the Dudley family. When Ed and Lorraine visited, they warned that some places should remain forgotten and that Dudleytown wasn't simply cursed, but claimed. They said that the darkness there wasn't attached to the people who once lived there, but it was born from the land itself. And for decades, the Warrens stood by that belief. They told would be ghost hunters to steer clear, insisting the curiosity would come with a price. Over the years, hikers, thrill seekers, and paranormal investigators have tried to find their way into the old settlement. Most don't make it that far. The woods seem to twist in on themselves, trails vanish as compasses go haywire. Locals say even cell service cuts off out the moment you step into the thick canopy of trees. Hi, that's just called
Yeah.
disturbances. Like,
Yeah, that's just called the trees.
yeah, like you can go into any woods and
Yeah,
most
that
likely your
happens.
phone's not going to work entirely.
Yeah, I went into Spring. Oh God, Spring Mill. It's haunted. It's infested. My phone
Yeah.
doesn't work in some areas.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I drive through the mountains to go to Walmart and my phone cuts off halfway through the
Darn
mountains. It's all haunted. Well, it could be. It is
it!
it is the Appalachian. So yeah, I'm gonna take that statement right back. Just gonna take that
You know what a
back.
fun episode idea would be in like 10 years when my kid's old enough to, not be a toddler if I die.
What?
I think we should hike the AT as an episode in 10 years.
What we do is we'll have like a big backlog and then we'll have the men in charge of publishing.
Right.
And then they can keep everything published. And then it'll just be an episode like, hey guys, we're back from hiking the AT. Here's our experiences.
Yeah. Just the whole season is just us trying to not die on a hike.
It'd be great
Yeah.
for the listeners, maybe not so much for us.
The viewers are having the time of their life seeing parts of the AT they've never even seen.
Yeah, we're over here like we're passing away.
Yeah, I've one of us dies halfway through the season.
It's me.
I was gonna say it's me.
So actually, I guess we both just died.
Yeah.
Um, so those who made it in to tell the stories that stick with you. One man claimed his group went exploring on a clear summer afternoon, but then they reached the old fountains. The sky turned dark in seconds as if clouds rolled in just above the trees. By the time they turned back, every single photo they'd taken was corrupted, static, blurred, or just black. Something tells me maybe you don't know how to use a camera.
Was your thumb in the way, mayhaps?
Like my dad's.
Yeah. Was this story your dad's?
Oh my gosh, Dad, did you go? Dad's been
That
listening.
wouldn't that wouldn't even surprise me if he
It really
was
wouldn't.
if we saw footage on TV of your father being arrested for trespassing in Dudleytown, I would be like, okay, that's just Mike.
That's just Mike.
He wouldn't get arrested. They never take him alive. What am I saying?
No, he'd be like, actually, see this right here? Sorry, Dad. He listens, and he's gonna be like, what the fuck?
No, he's gonna agree with our fantastic characterization of him.
He probably... We'll find out when this episode comes out, what his
Right.
thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
Another story tells of a couple who camped near the edge of the property line. Around 3 a.m., they woke up to what sounded like whispering, but not just words exactly, just like a low murmur circling the tent. When they shined their flashlight outside, there was nothing there, not even animal tracks in the forest. Some investigators say they captured strange orbs and shapes of light that danced through the trees. Others talk about a pressure in their chest, a heavy, suffocating feeling that builds the longer they stay. And every so often you hear about someone who comes back from Dudleytown different, quiet, restless, haunted by dreams they can't quite explain. Now, I was able to find a story from a guy's friend about what he experienced out there, and I'm going to read this verbatim so you all are aware that this is not my story. This is a dude named Jason's story. Now, this is being
Jason
told
Derulo?
from a third person point of view. That would be really cool. This is from a third person, so if it seems confusing at times, it's because his friend is writing it. And so some of his like words, I literally copy and pasted this. So just so you all know. So let's get into Jason's story. Jason and two of his friends had set up a tent in the foundation of an old house. While they were laying in the tent getting ready to go to sleep, they all had heard what sounded like someone wearing boots walking across a wooden floor. It only lasted for a couple seconds, but it had freaked everyone out enough that they weren't able to sleep. He had explained that at this point they were all very exhausted. Although they couldn't sleep, so perhaps the exhaustion played a part in this experience, but the fact that everyone experienced the same events makes it harder to blame the exhaustion. After the footsteps, everyone sat up in the tent and began to talk about what they had heard and were all a bit shocked. Jason had decided to light up a cigarette a few minute or so after the footsteps. However, it refused to stay lit. He would light it, take a puff, then it would go out seconds later. He had begun to get frustrated with it and threw the cigarette out of the tent. First of all, why are you smoking in a tent? There are other people in there.
That aside, maybe your cigarette just sucks.
Yeah,
What are you smoking? Pyramids?
maybe. He decided to check his watch and decided that maybe it was a good idea to try to sleep again. When he checked his watch, it was about 1:33 a.m., and they had to be up to get out of the forest by 5 a.m. They decided to pack up and leave before sunrise in case any police came through to patrol. Everyone talked for a minute and tried to fall asleep again. They all lay down and tried to sleep. Everyone had tossed and turned, and none of them were able to stay comfortable. They all had complained about the sensation that their skin was crawling. They had all experienced sudden hot flashes, and all night they'd felt as though someone was watching them. Jason had finally sat up and decided he just wasn't going to be able to sleep. He pulled out his phone to text his girlfriend and noticed his phone said it was 1:35 a.m. They were all far beyond confused. They felt as though they'd been tossing and turning in their sleeping bags for at least half an hour, but it had only been a couple minutes. For the next hour or so, they sat in their tents smoking cigarettes and having random conversations. However, their camping trip was turned upside down when at around 3:20 a.m. they heard a loud crunching of leaves coming from the forest next to them. The footsteps have came out of nowhere. They didn't hear the footsteps start further away and come closer. They just seemed to start out of nowhere. At most 30 to 40 feet from the tent. They had thought maybe it was a bear or a deer, but the footsteps were abnormal. Jason had described it to me as though someone would take 2 quick steps and then stop for a second or two. Then they take another 2 steps, stop for a second, and then take 2 more quick steps. Almost as if though someone was leaping from one point to another. Everyone in the tent began to panic. Everyone had a weapon of some kind in their hand and sat there frozen while the footsteps circled the trees outside the tent. The footsteps stopped after a minute, but they didn't seem to walk away from the tent. They just stopped. They began to panic that maybe someone was outside watching them from the trees. Jason's friend had yelled out something like, "Is somebody there?" to which there was no response. After a few minutes, they decided they should go check. Jason grabbed his flashlight and so did the others. They slowly opened the tent's door, shining as much light outside as they could. They pointed their flashlights towards where the sounds were coming from, but nothing was there. They kept the light on the trees for a while when they heard a very deep, very guttural, very raspy growl from the trees behind them. They spun around, flashed the lights, and behind them was a rather open section of the town. The nearest tree line was about 100 feet away, and they saw nothing in the openness. At this point, they decided it was time to leave. They grabbed their valuables, but actually left their tents as they were too freaked out to bother packing up the tent they spent $40 on at Walmart the day before they went out to the town. Jason had told us that the hike back was nerve wracking. The entire 10-minute hike out of the town, they felt as though they were being watched and something was trying to push them out of town. Once they had gotten out of the Dudleytown limits, their anxiety and hot flashes, cold sweats, and feeling of being watched melted away. So, what are your thoughts on Jason's story?
Um, we established this last time, and I don't know if you remember this, but I truly believe they were being pestered by a frog.
Which I do remember that. When I saw, I paused because I wonder if you were going to say I think it's a frog.
Yeah.
No,
The
I
leaping. The frog was giving him 10 sets of, some Lords a Leaping, and that would explain the graspy, creaky growl. It's a bullfrog, bro.
yeah,
Also, I'd like to point out that all of the things like your skin crawling, hot flashes, those can all just be attributed to sleeping in a tent with a bunch of other fucking people outside where there's bugs.
yeah,
If one guy farts in the tent, it's gonna get kind of warm for a second. I fear it.
yeah,
I fear it. Like that's gonna happen.
yeah. I think.
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say also, if you, I hate when people go use like a sense of dread as like evidence that something's haunted. Because if you already think it's haunted, you're gonna be kind of scared.
Yeah,
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy
yeah.
for you to have that horrible sense of dread.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're already scared going out, it's just gonna like escalate the things that are happening around you, even if they're not
Hmm.
paranormal. Like you're still
Yeah.
gonna get scared by them.
Right. Like if you or I was in the woods and it was a, let's say it was woods on our property and we were really familiar with them and we knew nothing was out there, right?
Yeah,
And we heard those same noises. At what we would go, it sounds like something's jumping around.
yeah,
I bet it's a frog.
yeah. Or like my first thought would be like, it's just an animal. Like you're in the woods.
A rabbit?
Yeah,
Those leap
like there's so many other animals it could be. Like
besides a ghost.
yeah.
I've
So,
just implied ghosts are animals.
but yeah. So there's like I feel like if you're already that scared going out, like it's really just gonna escalate everything.
Yeah.
We're just gonna leave that at that. So,
Yeah. Jason, we believe you experienced something, but we do believe there's a good chance that that something was your own psyche
hmm
and a small animal.
yep.
Jason Derulo.
So some say Dudleytown was just another forgotten settlement, a victim of bad soil, isolation, and the passage of time. Others say it's proof that evil can take root in the land itself, that some places are born wrong. The foundations are still there, buried beneath years of leaves and silence. If you listen close enough, you might even hear the past breathing just beneath the dirt. The echoes of footsteps, the whispers of name lost to history. Ed and Lorraine warned people to stay away, to leave the darkness alone, and maybe that's the truest lesson of all. Not every mystery is meant to be solved, and not every door is meant to be open. Because sometimes we go looking for ghosts and they start looking back. Dudleytown still sits there in the heart of Connecticut, swallowed by forest and time. The trees have grown tall, the stones are covered in moss, and whatever happened there has long since slipped between the cracks of history. But if the stories are true, if the land really does hold a darkness of its own, then maybe it's better that way. I don't I don't believe Ed and Lorraine's investigation here. I believe that there is probably, again, like we said with like Pangea, like there was a lot of creepy stuff if you actually look into Pangea and how some of the lands are connected and some of how like folklore and stuff, it all ties together.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. Um, I think a lot of this has to do with the psyche for some of the people that have gone
Mhm.
out there.
Yeah.
Again, signals get messed up by disturbances, i.e., like trees.
Mhm.
Um, and here's a good example of disturbances and signals. I track a sea turtle, and sometimes he's at an airport, and that's not where he is. He's in the water. But because of his transmitter bouncing off the buildings, because he's near a very
Mm,
populated area, even
right.
when she's near the shore, her signal bounces off buildings and shows me she's at an airport. She's not at the airport.
Maybe she's coming to see you. You don't know.
Maybe. I would love that. I love sea turtles. But that's a good example of
Mhm.
disturbances that can throw things off. If you go
Right. Like, there's logical explanations for almost all this.
Yeah. So I don't think the land's cursed. I don't think that there be ghosts. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's for
People died.
I believe that for every area in the world. Um However, it being infested by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of demons, I don't believe that. Not with any. We're relying on two people who we already don't necessarily think are as credible, and they're the
Mhm.
ones telling us that there's all these demons. So, do with that
Right.
what you will.
Right.
What are your entire thoughts on Dudleytown?
Uh, Poor planning, bad soil, just not a good place to live in general. And people have let their imaginations really run wild with it.
Yeah,
You know, Ed and Lorraine walked so that Zach Bagans could run.
they really
And
did.
I think they're partly to blame for why people think Dudleytown is haunted and cursed when in reality it's just, like some places are just not a good place to live, and it's not cuz they're haunted or cursed. The environment just is shitty.
And
Like
that,
I would not personally go live in Antarctica cuz it's shitty to live there.
yeah, but it doesn't mean it's cursed.
No.
And that's the thing too is we opened up with the fact that it's on a hill. There's no clean drinking water nearby. It's not good
Mhm.
soil for cultivation.
No.
So by them blaming bad crops on a curse, it's like no, you just planted them in a very shitty area.
And I understand that maybe for the residents who live there, it could see as the stressors of trying to survive somewhere like that. Yeah, absolutely could drive people mad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have no sunlight, you're isolated from the rest of the world, you're under immense stress to try to feed your family and survive in an unhospitable area. Like, yeah, there's going to be some funky shit that happens.
Yep.
It's like when people get like lost at sea. They do weird shit,
That is true.
like eating the cabin boy.
Yep.
But
So
that's my thoughts.
so you guys should let us know what you think about Dudleytown. Do you think it's haunted? Do you believe Ed and Lorraine? What are your thoughts entirely on Dudleytown and all the situations that are around it?
Yeah, and if you've ever been to Dudleytown, let us know cuz people do sneak in there. But you might want to do it anonymously cuz it is indeed illegal.
And if you
This is
did,
yeah.
send it to our email, which is in the
Mhm.
link below. If you have any ghost stories or any spiritual things, or you might think you came across a cryptid, let us know. Send it to the email. Tell us your creepy
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't promoted that in a while.
Yeah. We would
Yeah, no,
love
we have an email for that.
we would love to read your stories out loud. We eventually want to have where we talk about your guys' stories, maybe pick them apart, maybe talk about some psychological effects.
We'll be nicer to you guys than we are to the Warrens and Zach Bagans, I
Yeah,
promise.
we will be nicer. Because as far as we know, we have no reason to not believe you.
Yeah, you haven't publicly gone on air and said incorrect shit.
Yeah. So
Um, Yeah. Plus, I feel like stories from just like regular people are always a little more believable. Even when they're outrageous. Listen, you could send us. I'm fixing my shoe. That's why I'm so close to the camera, everyone. Um, if you could literally send us a story about a weird random green hand, disembodied hand that crawled up and said, and like did the got your nose thing and ran off in the middle of the night, and we would be like, yes, we've heard something similar before. This actually isn't that insane.
Yeah. We spend a lot of
Y-
our time looking at weird things.
you could tell us any paranormal, supernatural, cult related, witchcraft related thing in an email, and we'd be like, yeah, that sounds like something that could happen
Yeah,
potentially.
if you've ever left a cult too.
Yeah, yeah, not to give too much away, but if you
Yeah.
know anything about cults,
We would like to hear how you left.
should I go talk to our local?
I I might accidentally join a cult here in a couple months because I'm traveling to.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. If I disappear for a little bit, guys, it's because I joined a cult.
don't worry, I'll go get her. I'm
So,
immune to cult propaganda. I was raised Catholic.
so we'll see. But maybe that was some spoilers for y'all. Maybe it wasn't. Do with that information what you will. Speculate what you want. Someone's gonna be
But
like, "Oh my
always
god, they're
remember,
starting a cult."
no, we're not charismatic enough for that.
No,
I fear. If I could, I already would have. Okay,
we're a cult, just the two of us.
we're a cult unto ourselves. I will, however, be joining Markiplier's cult when he eventually starts it.
I saw TikTok about that, and I think I reshared it on the podcast page.
I think he'll be good to us. That's why I say that.
Yeah. I also okay. This is such a side tangent. There's a guy on TikTok that's convinced a tree in his yard is moving, and I have been following.
Is it is moving?
I've been following this saga, and I keep trying to repost them on our podcast account. But I have been following this case so closely. I love it.
No, it's moving. We all agree the tree is moving.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but the tree is moving.
There's another guy that's like, he's like, I've been messing with this tape measure. I cut his tape measure every single day.
So I saw a guy going, he said, I've been moving this tree to bother my neighbor.
I've seen that too. There's so many, and I love all of it. I
Yeah,
love all of it.
no,
It's been great. If you guys haven't, you should watch that. Um, Granted, at this point, it might be not as cool or as
right.
widely thing going on, but like, you should go watch the saga. It's been great.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Um,
Except it's actually not, because why is this tree fucking moving?
I know someone was overlaying pictures, but the pictures didn't line up with where the tree was. And it was so people were like, "You're saying that it's not moving, but the trees in the background aren't even lined up correctly, so it looks like the trees in the background are moving now."
Yeah,
It's been great.
yeah.
So, well,
I don't, I don't have anything else.
well, guys, we hope that we will see you again next week with another small town big haunt case
Mm-hmm.
of sorts. So, hopefully we'll see you again next week for that. Bye.
Bye.